some European fuckwit, and I have varying views on the gun control debate. Um, Obviously, gun control in the US, wonderfully divisive issue. And believe me, I've got a few things to say. Now, being obviously foreign, not American, guaranteed anything I say is here to piss you lot off. Why? Because I don't believe that guns are a necessity. And this is going to really, really rile a few fucking people, but I don't care. The gun debate is simple. The only argument that actually exists is, I want guns. And it really comes down to that, because any other argument you've got is bullshit. Let's start with all your arguments. Let's blow these out of the water for starters. The only thing that can stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Oh, that's bullshit. A bad guy with a gun is a bad guy with a gun, but if you don't make the gun accessible to that bad guy, chances are there's going to be a fuckload less of them in the first place. So what can you do about that? Well, let's have a look. There's going to be a fuckload less of them to start with. So chances are you're not going to need the good guy with the gun to counteract the bad guy with the gun. The good guy with the gun is probably going to be a police officer or a military officer who's actually had training and experience, has been called into the situation, and is going to just fucking cap the son of a bitch. So let's take that one out of the argument. Bang! There's your police, there's your military, that's it. You know, okay, what other arguments do we have for guns? Oh, that's right. We're using them to defend against tyranny from our government. Oh, bullshit. Your government, let's have a look. You got drones. You got sons of bitches with big fucking bombs sitting 3,000 miles away that can push a button and just fucking annihilate you. Believe me, having an Armalite AR-15 is really not gonna do you much good when an aeroplane is going up 40,000 foot in the air and dropping a fucking bomb on you. That's just not gonna really work so well. I mean, I'm pretty sure that some of you may be crack shots, but I somehow don't think that you've got what it takes to make a bullet travel 40,000 foot in the air, counteracting gravity, because it's not traveling at a speed of over what? I think it's 17,500 miles an hour that you need to go above gravity's force. It's just not going to happen. All that's going to happen is it's going to go up, and the fucker's going to come down, and it ain't going to come to anywhere close to what your target is. So you're left with the arguments of, well, I like guns, I want one. You've got so many fucking idiots. I mean, I've been called a libtard, a fucking democratic prick. I'm not. I'm a human being that has respect for the sanctity of life. The sanctity of life is paramount. I was looking at my wife's Facebook the other day, a wonderful tool, Facebook. It's a communication tool to bring the world together. It's brilliant. You get to talk to people across the world. You get to understand global perspective, and a global perspective is a wonderful thing to have, I might add. Looking at my wife's Facebook, some dumb shit actually argued that the amount of instances where a gun saved a human being was 2.85 million compared to less than 30,000 deaths last year. I am going to argue that any number of homicides resulted used as a firearm, any number of firearm homicides that is more than 20,000 but less than 30,000 is still too fucking high a price to pay. I mean, do you think that's acceptable? Because if that's an acceptable number for you, you're a fucking idiot. Do you not actually understand the world you live in? It's really simple to actually logically theorise this. Australia, 96. What was it? Port Royal Massacre. Biggest massacre in the fucking world. Oh, sorry. Biggest massacre in the civilised world. We're not talking about war zones and places where there's fucking 300 million guns aplenty and every son of a bitch is shooting every other son of a bitch. We're talking about technically advanced countries. And I hate myself for using those fucking speech bubbles for that. But the fact of the matter is, you're talking about civilised countries. Now, civilised countries, you're trying to argue that these numbers are actually acceptable. You're looking at gun homicide rates. Homicide rates in the US, 67% of homicides in the US are because of firearms. The procurement of one specifically. The ease of procuring a firearm. Do you not realise how goddamn stupid that is? If a gun is easy to get, someone's going to fucking use it. Sandy Hook, Charleston, let's have a look at the other one, the Batman killer. These guys, have a look at them. They're kind of like me. Look at me, little skinny me. Yeah, some big fucking son of a bitch. If I went into one of those places with a knife and went, I'm gonna fucking kill you all, some big son of a bitch is gonna walk out, smack me in the fucking face and knock me the fuck out. Why? Because they're bigger. Because they can. Because I cease to have the ability to cap people on fucking mass. Let's have a look. Let's think about this. After Sandy Hook, people turned around and went, the answer to that is to have more guns. Oh great, so now you've got more instruments of death to counteract other people with instruments of death. That just doesn't work. Fucking Kevin the security guard standing there making minimum wage, fucking yeah, I'm gonna lay my life on the line for these kids. No, he'll do it for his own fucking bravery, but he will never do it for the minimum wage. And to be honest, half of these son of a bitches are gonna shit it and fucking run. Some son of a bitch is gonna walk in with an assault rifle. That always makes me laugh. Assault rifles. People want them for home defense, and yet it's called an assault rifle. It doesn't work out so well. I'm sure a comedian said that at some point, and I'm probably plagiarizing it, but the son of a bitch was right. The simple fact is that you're not respecting the sanctity of human life. These people, they claim to be all for God. They claim to stand there and shout howdy, amen, and I love God, but they're the same son of a bitches that go, oh, what you gonna do? Someone shot something up. It's the root cause of the problem. Pay more taxes. Give them free healthcare. Oh, we can't give them free healthcare because then they'll just be heroin addicts. Are you fucking dumb? You don't want to deal with the root cause of a problem. You've got to deal with the problem. If the problem is a firearm problem, you've got to remove the firearms. If you want to deal with the root cause of the problem, give every son of a bitch free healthcare and actually preemptively strip this shit out of society. And if you're not going to do that, then you're just a fucking idiot who's happy and complicit in agreement with the status quo. And that's not on. You lot fucking screamed about Obamacare, trying to give healthcare to the fucking masses. This is what it's supposed to be for, you dumb fucks. It's supposed to actually deal with the root causes of these problems. Oh, the son of a bitch was a psycho, but what you gonna do? Well, if you could have identified him as a psycho first and put him away before that, you might not have had this stupid son of a bitch picking up a gun going, blam, 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 you're all fucking dead and I'm just getting arrested. You claim that it's a socio-economic problem. Well, deal with the root solution. You're not giving solutions. You're just saying, well, all we need is more guns to deal with the situation. It's not more guns you need. It's more fucking brain cells, you bunch of stupid assholes. Do you not really figure what's going on in this world? If you've got some son of a bitch with a gun, another son of a bitch with a gun isn't the most likely option to solve it. It's stopping him from actually doing the massacre in the first place. 2015. This is June 20th, 2015. Okay, so we're 6 months into the year, nearly 7 months into the year. In America alone, 120 mass shooting events alone. 120. Can you not let that fucking sink in for a minute? That was 179 deaths. I'm not counting the wounded, not counting the maimed, not counting the poor, innocent, dumb schmuck fucking bystanders that got caught by some fucking idiot that didn't shoot on target. I'm talking about the people who were killed. And is that an acceptable number? What you gonna do about it? We want our guns, we gonna keep our guns. Well, fuck you, you bunch of dumb imbecilic pricks. If you're not going to actually look at this logically, I've heard every fucking argument going. I've heard the Fox News line of, well, the UK has actually got more crime than America. Well, I actually went through this with proportional mathematics, and you know what? That's a fucking lie. You've tried using every fucking trick, and I know I speak to Republicans on a very regular basis, people who support the Second Amendment right. And I've spoken at length on this, and all they keep going on about is either their Second Amendment right to bear arms. Well, the Second Amendment's called a fucking amendment. You can change it. Your First Amendment gives me the right to tell you that I think you're a fucking moron. And believe me, I'm telling you, all that you've got right now is the actual ability to stand there and just say, I like guns, I want one, because that's your only fucking logical argument. Anything else is bullshit. You can throw statistics at me and I will find every fucking piece of truth and throw them straight back. I'm going to get a lot of shit when I upload this on YouTube. I'm going to have people calling me a fucking libtard, a democratic asshole, or some shit like that. Do you not know where hate starts? Hate itself starts with complicit, tacit agreement for things to keep going in the status quo. Look at the Holocaust. Back in the day, all these Jews massacred. Oh, it's a fucking tragedy. Yeah, it was a tragedy because you lot fucking let it happen. And that's, well, not you specifically, because times have moved on. Or so we think. But the fact of the matter is, it happened because of agreement. Because people weren't willing to change things. You're keeping to the status quo, but you're not realizing we are supposed to be a species that evolves with time. An evolution, a group of people who are supposed to move forward, to actually compare and complete our lives by actually giving teachings that further education. And the furthering of education is really simple. This furthering of education comes down to trying to teach the young to not make the mistakes of the past. Now, I'm not saying this is a political debate, because let's be honest, my political beliefs actually comply with every fuckwit is out for a capitalist agenda, and I'm not getting into this. It's not political. It's an issue of life. I've heard these people going, look at Obama politicizing the fact of South Carolina immediately after the event. No, he wasn't. He was being honest. This sort of shit doesn't happen in other countries. Why? Because they don't fucking let it. Sandy Hook, okay. After Port Royal in Australia, the weapon that the Sandy Hook kids used, it costs what, $1,000 from Walmart. The same weapon on the black market in Australia is $34,000. The same weapon in the UK on the black market is north of £20,000. Now, if you got 20 grand in the fucking bank, chances are you're not going to go nuts. And if you are going to go nuts, you're on the fucking radar somewhere, because you've got enough money to actually stand out. You know, you're not really getting this. You've given me every fucking argument that you can give, and I've blown it clean out of the water on Facebook and in the past. And believe me, my Facebook page is open, you all can post to it, and you can tell me how much of a fucking arsehole I am, and I don't care. Name's John Scott, you can find me, it's quite simple. I am here for you to rip the shit out of. I don't live in Britain, I don't live in America, which is probably what's gonna piss most of you off, because I'm not American. You shouldn't even have a goddamn opinion on this because you don't live in that country. You don't understand the goddamn Constitution. Actually, yeah, I do. I'm what's called an educated person. When I don't understand something, I approach it with an open mind. I look at every single side of a debate and I weigh it up. And what I'm left with the thought of is that anyone that thinks that guns are a good thing is a fucking moron. You can't look at it and go, well, farmers need it. Let's talk about pest control and vermin control. Other countries have managed to succeed in controlling their vermin without a firearm. Look to them as an example. Then you go, oh, but those countries aren't America. Yeah, those countries are actually probably a bit more advanced in terms of thought process than you then. Because all you're doing is moving on and keeping the hate revolving. And it is hate. Anyone that's causing a mass shooting is doing it for a reason of hate. Whatever hatred it is. I hate my socks. I hate Mondays. That was a fucking good one. That's a school shooting. We all remember that one. Columbine. I hate my teachers. Sandy Hook. I hate the fact that I've got to go to school, and I hate my parents, and I hate everything. This fuckwit in South Carolina. I hate Negroes. No, you're a fucking hater. That's what it comes down to. It's not even racism. It's the fact that you, not only do you hate what you have this amount of hate, but you have the ability to pick up a gun because it's so easily procured and do something about it. These fuckwits, if they had to rock up to the black market, they wouldn't be looked at twice, because the black market means a continuing criminal enterprise. People that go up to the black market aren't just your average fuckwit on the street. They've got to be connected. And if they're connected, chances are, like, they're already in this criminal enterprise. If they're already in a criminal enterprise, they're on the fucking radar somewhere. So someone knows to stop them from doing it. It's an agreement. It's a fucking, no, fuck you, don't take my guns. That's your only stance. Oh, why? God damn it, you've killed 5-year-olds, but fuck it, don't take my guns. Well, every other country that's had a massacre has got, well, someone's gone nuts with a gun. Fair enough. We all move at the slowest speed. That's a fact. Societies move at the speed of the slowest people. You know, some fuckwit gets drunk, goes driving in a car, it's illegal for everybody. You know, some fuckwit decides that he wants to take drugs, gets fucked up, goes a bit cuckoo, and all of a sudden they're illegal for everyone. Yeah, thanks a bunch for that, but the fact of the matter is we have to move at the speed of the slowest of societies. It's a fact. Like I say, I'm pretty sure that some other comedians actually ventured this. I'm not a comedian, I'm just some son of a bitch with a rant, and it's a good one. But they all move at this speed. Why? Because the fact of the matter is that these people are what leads us. We have to fulfill our obligations as a society by understanding that the slower people exist and the advanced must actually bring themselves and say, right, let's move you forwards. However, in your advanced society, and I say that term highly loosely because it ceases to be more and more advanced with all this shit that I'm seeing, it's not happening. You're just going, I want my guns, I'm going to keep my guns, you can't change the Second Amendment. Well, it's called an amendment for a reason, so it can be changed. But that's the fact of the matter. You're being stupid and you are agreeing with this whole cycle of violence, and by agreeing with it, you're furthering it more. I can't believe, I am sickened, shocked, abhorred and appalled and by that simple state of mind where people cannot agree to understand that the causes of these problems either need to be sorted, and you've got to pay more money to sort it and give people free healthcare to sort this shit out, or you've got to remove the problem. The problem is either the root cause or the immediate problem. The immediate problem is that people can get guns and shoot the shit out of stuff. And believe me, I understand guns don't kill people, people kill people. Yes, make a gun easy, and these dumb fucks that don't actually have the ability to kill people in the first place suddenly have the ability to do it. When you actually get this through your fucking skull, you might suddenly start moving forwards as a species. You know, humanity needs to evolve, and varying people need to evolve with it. And I'm afraid, America, you need to. Because these people, yes, people will always kill people. It has been a staple of time from past generations all the way through. And yet somehow other civilized societies, by banning the gun, have managed to minimize these instances. They will always happen, yes, but they don't need to happen with the alarming regularity that they happen in America. Take any city you like, any massive city, New York, San Francisco, Las Vegas, anywhere in Texas, any big city you like. Look at the number of homicides, then look at the percentage that were caused by a firearm. Now go into the records, because you're allowed to. Look at the people that did it. Then suddenly realise if it was some dumb fuckwit with a knife, you'd have probably knocked him out. If it was some fuckwit just playing the big I am that was up on drugs, you would have dropped him the fuck out. But because these son of a bitches have guns, all of a sudden it's a game changer. Then they kill people, and then they kill people en masse. Murders happen, it's an awful fact. Human beings are fallible, awful creatures. But the fact of the matter is that what you're doing is agreeing with a society that is accepting murder. And it is murder. By accepting and saying, yes, we want to have our guns, you are complying with this want to own an instrument of death. And if you want to own an instrument of death, you belong in the fucking military and not on the fucking streets. And if you want to be in the military, Go do it. There you get a gun. They send you around the world. You can meet new and interesting people and kill them. It's all good. And if you don't want it to be like that, stay the fuck out of it. Don't have guns, or deal with the root causes and give every fucker free healthcare and psychological assessment. Someone said to me, Switzerland has more guns percentage-wise than America. Yes, but they also have the fucking Conscription Act, where almost all males between the ages of 20 and 30 are conscripted to the army. And at conscription, when you've got an army above you and you've got these people, they're looking at your psychological condition. And if you are not fit to have a gun, you don't get it. When they get out of the army, they keep their guns, but they are so heavily regulated that you couldn't fucking transport one unless you can prove real good fucking reason. You can't open carry one, unlike in Texas. You live in a country where squirt guns are illegal on school grounds, and yet a real firearm is absolutely fine. Why? Oh, someone might squirt someone with something that's not fucking water. However, we can blow your fucking head open and explode it like an overripe melon. Why? Because we want to. Because we want our guns. It's stupid. It's fucking idiotic. It's imbecilic. It's even worse than that. It is a complete agreement with a society that doesn't want to hold you accountable for the actions. You want to hold this son of a bitch accountable for the fact that he shot 9 people in South Carolina. You're going to go and put drugs into his system and execute him. Why? Because he killed someone, we'll kill you right back. 1 person versus 9. Okay, let's have a look at the equalization of that. He's killed 9 people, you're going to kill him. Okay, I understand your logic of that, but that's 8 people. If you're going to look at this in a statistical point of view, that's 8 deaths that still aren't accounted for in terms of balance, because you've only killed the one son of a bitch back for it. You need to stop thinking in these terms. You are accountable for your society, and because you're accountable for your society, you need to sort this shit out. And sorting this shit out means getting rid of the firearms, or at least legislating them in such a fucking way that no idiot can get hold of them in an easy manner anymore. Because if you don't do that, all you're doing is completely revolving this circle, and it's never going to change until you lot, yes, you, America, get off your fucking arse and sort it. Because if you don't, all you're doing is being stupid. Other massacres have happened throughout the world. Governments have responded to those massacres by either legislating or banning firearms, and then the figures support the fact that there have been so many less of these mass shootings happen. Can you not get it through your fucking head? It's happened elsewhere. The statistics from every other fucking country that has had a mass shooting and removed firearms from the populace, the mass shooting levels have gone down drastically. Maybe you'll have one every fucking decade, but it's better than 120 a year. That's better than 179 fucking families who have got to go home, realise that their loved ones are no longer there. Why? Because you fucking idiots want to keep your guns. It's stupid, and you're being fucking stupid if you claim otherwise. All you're doing is progressing the cycle, and stop it. Other people throughout the world are getting sick and fucking tired of your bullshit because you think that having a gun is acceptable. As for the NRA, fuck you, fuck the lot of yous, because back in Kennedy's day, the NRA, they didn't want the mass populace to have guns. Check it out, the history's true. They wanted them for hunting, not for defense of tyranny against a nation that can probably wipe you out without ever fucking seeing you. They're not standing on this fucking soapbox and giving bullshit arguments. They wanted them for hunting purposes only. Okay, fine, I get that. So they wanted legislation, they wanted controls to actually make sure that the firearm was only for this purpose. But you don't want it. You want to kill people. And if you want to kill people, go out and kill some son of a bitch, but do it with your bare hands and see how fucking far you get. Because it won't get as far as you think. Get rid of the guns, you'll get rid of a problem. or pay more money, give people the care that they need, the palliative care from the start, and that'll solve the problem. But if you're not going to do either, then you deserve to actually be on the receiving end of that firearm one day. And I'm afraid to say it, but it's true. All you're doing is being fucking stupid. Pull your head out your asses and stop it. Because, to be honest, I'm beyond words at this point. I can rant about this for another 4 goddamn hours. The sanctity of human life is worth so much more. Any number of firearm homicides that is more than one in a year is too high a price to pay. So, there's your options. Deal with the root or deal with the problem. But if you're not going to do with either, you deserve to be on the fucking receiving end of it.